Hello everyone and welcome to the Yoga House. This is a super gentle class, so it's for people who are complete beginners or for people who just want to slow down. There's a lot of merit in slowing down and truly learning what's going on in your body, helping your mind to focus and not being under pressure in any way. I will pitch it at a couple of levels, so for each super gentle movement you have the option to go even more easily into it, even more slowly into it. And the beauty about this being a video is that you can pause, go back to the start, have a break, or repeat it and just use this video again and again to help soothe your mind and ease the stiffness out of your body. For this session we'll need a blanket, and we'll also need a stool or a chair. You can see I've just got a simple stool there. So let's begin by just sitting on the stool, and we'll take our hands together. We'll chant Om 3 times. Om represents everything that vibrates and lives in the universe through all time. So when we chant that, we're blending in with that. We are part of the universe. Also, sometimes it doesn't seem like we are, but we are. So when we chant Om together, we're creating this lovely space in our minds for practice. We have this expansive, unifying feeling of being part of something much bigger. So taking a deep breath in. And again, deep breath in. And one more time. Inhale. And bring the arms down. Let's start with a little neck stretch. Most of us have a lot of stiffness in the neck. So we're going to sit on the right hand. I'll be your mirror as I'm facing you. Sit on the right hand with the right buttock quite strongly. And so from there, we're going to move over to the left with the head. So when we let our head go over to the left, don't go for excruciating pain, obviously. Don't force yourself. You're simply stabilizing the shoulder or the scapula, the shoulder blade in that right side, and you're stretching from that anchor or from that stabilization. We're just going to breathe here. 3 deep breaths. Inhale through the nose. Exhale through the nose. Feet are together, knees slightly apart. Inhale through nose. Exhale through nose. Soles of the feet are grounded. Inhale through nose. Exhale through the nose. And very slowly bring your head back to center. Unearth the hand, and then take the opposite hand in. So that's your left hand underneath your left buttock. That's our anchor. We're stabilizing the scapula, and then we're tilting the head in the opposite direction. 3 deep breaths there. Make sure your back is tall. A little bit of tone in the belly. You don't have to suck it in, just a little bit of tone there. 2 more breaths. 1 more breath. Good, and slowly releasing the hands out. Let's interlace the fingers, so you're weaving left digit, right digit, etc. into a nice interlace. And we're going to turn the palms forwards and lift the arms all the way up. Now for most of us, this will highlight a little bit of stiffness in the shoulders. So if you can, you're working to straighten those elbows, but if that's not possible yet, let the elbows bend enough so that your shoulders can drop. So you don't want to add tension to tension, is what I'm saying. If you can though, extend your elbows and drop your shoulders simultaneously. And so we're going to move over to the left. So as we move to the left, you might feel that your right sit bone is getting a little bit lighter. Resist that. Anchor it down, like we stabilized with the hand under the bum earlier. We're trying to stabilize through the hips now by pressing down. So you use the feet on the floor to help you with that. Couple of breaths there. Exposing the right lung. breathe into it. It sounds really abstract. Of course, both lungs are taking air, but target your breath through that right lung. Feel it and imagine it expanding. And then as you exhale, that gentle contraction. One more here. Inhale back up to center. You can keep the arms there or bring them down to rest them at any point. Let's go over to the right. Again, we feel that unearthing or the uprooting of the left buttock. Resist that. Press down and find that anchor point. Breathing deeply there. Work on straightening those elbows. Even if it doesn't happen straight away, if you practice this regularly, you'll start to feel your flexibility improving in a few weeks or months. Inhale back up and exhale, we release down. Oh, it's kind of heavy going, so roll the shoulders back. So even in the most gentle of classes, if yoga is done correctly, you will find a challenge there. So please, if the challenge is too much, never be militant or forceful with yourself. Take breaks where necessary. Build on your discipline and your ability as time goes on. Take a few more rolls there. As we're rolling, looking to your left a few times, to the right a few times, repeating now, repeating, and then linger longer now as you look to the left for this time. Keep the shoulders rolling if it feels okay, keep the breath nice and steady and deep, and then looking over to the right. Good, and then coming back to center. I'm just going to show you this from the side, you don't need to move. We're going to sit on the chair or the stool again, interlacing, bit of a creaky stool. My dad made this in the 40s. Interlacing the fingers, drawing the shoulder blades down the back. Now you can see this creates quite an arch in the back. So your butt is heavy, the feet are heavy. Open the chest more than just dipping into the lower back. So it's as if you're trying to rise the breastbone, that's this part here, up to the ceiling, like it's magnetized. Something is drawing you up. Nice little back bend there. Keep the breath deep and steady, always, always. Let's do 2 more breaths here. Sink the shoulder blades into the back. One more breath here. Inhale and exhale. Now from here, we're going to widen the feet. They're still flat on the ground, but we're going to widen the feet so the legs come apart, and ideally we're trying to drop the torso into that space between the legs, right? So depending on your torso width, then the feet might be quite wide. Interlace the fingers again behind the back, exactly as we did earlier. And then this time we're going to come forwards, dropping the head down towards the ground, looking to the wall behind you, and start to bring those arms rather all the way up as best you can. Keep the heels of the hands together or apart, depending on what feels best for you. I like to keep them apart for this one. It just gives me a bit more ease of straightening through the elbows and a bit more freedom and space through the shoulders. But if you want to go a little bit more advanced, then take the heels of the hands together. A couple more breaths here. One more breath here. Release now very slowly. Keep your head down. I'll just talk you through it. Very slowly take your hands to your knees and roll up. Super, super slow. Never rushing when you're going from an upside down pose to an upright pose. Particularly if, like me, you have low blood pressure and you have a tendency towards dizziness or nausea. So you take these nice and slow. And if you find through the practice that certain postures are not good for you, simply do not do them. And then we can find an easier way of doing it. So for example, let me go to the other side. If the upside down thing doesn't feel like it's good, you simply repeat what we did earlier, interlacing the fingers, and you can just let the head nod. So you get a nice stretch in the back of the neck. And back up, reps, or holding there. In the context of creating much more space and flexibility, you still get benefit from that option. You don't ever have to go upside down if it's too much for you. So from here, we're going to take the stool out of the way. And we're going to use a blanket for the knees. This might not be necessary for some of you, but I always like to have something underneath the knees in case you get that awful knobbly feeling. The patella is bone, obviously, and the floor is hard. So you're going to feel that impact. And so make sure that you're nice and comfortable. And so we're going to go into a nice low lunge. So we're going to start by stepping the right foot forwards. So I'm no longer mirroring you now as I'm side on. So the right foot forwards, dropping down low with those hips, and see if you can get that right shin vertical. The left knee is on the blanket. Now obviously the further your foot, your front foot, your right foot is from the back knee, your left knee, the lower you can go with the hips, and therefore the deeper a stretch you can get. This is very effective for bringing lots of blood flow to those muscles. So from there, we're going to take the hands to the top of that right knee, and we're going to undulate through the spine. Let's exhale, slightly straighten the front leg, tuck your tailbone under around the back, look towards your chest, and inhale, dropping your hips down, lifting the chest up. And exhale, very slowly, tucking the chin in, tucking the tailbone under, slightly straightening that front leg. And inhale, going back into deep lunge, looking up. Slow with the breath, exhale. Inhale. You're alternating, rounding the back in different directions. Exhale. Inhale. You may have noticed that it's a balance. So if you've got a wall beside you, you might want to hang on to it with one of your hands. Let's do 3 more. Exhale. Slightly straightening the knee, tucking the tailbone and the chin in. Inhale. Bending the knee, drop low at the hips, look up. Exhale. Keep a small bit of tone in the belly, so you've got support there. Inhale. And exhale. Good. Now, from here, you have the opportunity to just step switch. That would be the preferable option if you're taking things nice and slowly. So you take the hands to the floor, step that right foot back, and then you take the left foot forwards, for example. If it doesn't go that smoothly for you, you can go into it in increments. Lean over onto the opposite hand of the foot that's forwards, coming into a kneeling position, and then make your way to the other side. Or, if you're feeling a little bit fancy, you can jump switch. So this might not be for those of you who are complete beginners or feeling a little bit stiff, but for those of you who are beginners or maybe a little bit more practiced and you're feeling that you're energized, you want to try something new, let's get bouncy and jump switch. So that's an option, not necessarily to work towards, just if you want to make things a little bit more dynamic. And then we come down into the other side lunge. So your left leg is now leading forwards. Your right knee is on your blanket. Your toes are tucked under at the back. I didn't mention that the last time. Tucking the toes under just gives you a little bit more stability. So you can try that if it didn't happen last time. Hands to the knee, and we go. Exhale, slightly straightening that knee. Tuck your tailbone in, tuck your chin in. Try and make as much length, expansiveness and stretch in your back as possible. And inhale. We stretch here. So the front is the expansive aspect here in the inhale. Dropping the hips low. Exhale. Slight straightening of the knee. Not full extension, but not full flexion either. Somewhere in between. And then inhale back into knee flexion. Dropping the hips. Opening the chest. Exhale. Rounding back. Nice and gentle. Inhale. So as we go, just consider this. We're moving and breathing in equal measure. Obviously, as your brain is learning this movement, particularly for those of you who are new to yoga, there's a lot to think about. So it's coordinating everything together. But once you get a little bit more au fait with the movement, then you can start to really focus on the breath. Then you can start to harmonize the breath and movement, and it becomes almost like a meditation. The mind is occupied with these tasks of breathing and moving in synchronicity. It's very peacemaking for the mind, particularly if you feel scattered quite often. So we spotted last time on the other side it was a balance. We also spot there's a really fine stretch through the front of the back leg. I'll say that again, through the front of the back leg. Let's go 3 more times. Inhale, drop the hips, look up, open the chest. Exhale, drop the chin, tuck the tailbone under, slight straightening of that front leg. Inhale, open, exhale, close. One last time. Inhale, open, and exhaling, close. And then we're going to take the hands down, no jumping, just stepping back and just gently kneeling onto the heels. So I'm just going to demonstrate this next one. This is a variation of child's pose. Child's pose is a wonderful way to stretch through the lower back. But I want you guys to be super, super comfortable. So we're going to do a different version. If you have a yoga book, or if you're looking through YouTube, or you've been to lots of Zoom classes, or you've seen yoga posters, then you'll see that there are many, many different variations and options for each asana or yoga posture. This is just one option for child's pose. I'll show you from the front what the legs are doing. The knees are apart. You can see between the thighs there that my feet are together, as in touching each other. The knees are apart about as wide as a standard yoga mat. The butt is going as far towards the heels as possible. Right? So if you've got a dodgy knee, or even if your knee is just sending you signals today saying, don't push the butt all the way to the heels. But if it feels okay, gentle pressure through the hands to get the bum down. And then we begin to lengthen out, extending the arms forwards. Maybe the head comes to the floor, but I prefer to take the arms into a flexed position and then just gently let the head drop down. Don't worry too much if the head doesn't go to the floor, just let it go towards the floor. Another option to make it a bit easier, so this is where we go super gentle, is take one fist on top of the other. So you're creating a little pillow. One fist on top of the other, forehead onto those fists. Really nice options. And so these 3 options kind of fall into one bracket. So you're not coming into the full child's pose is a little bit more demanding on the neck. So we're just doing a modified version with 3 mini versions within that. And find which one is right for you, and believe me, from day to day, it can be different. Your body will desire different things. Listen to it, particularly if you're injured or recovering from injury. Go super gently. We tend to bypass our wisdom and the vital and subtle information that's available to us through our nervous system when we go too fast or when we don't listen to how the body is feeling. It's a valuable part of the practice just to slow down. I often use the analogy, if you're driving through the countryside in a very fast car, as opposed to walking through the countryside, you're going to miss much more if you're in the former situation. As cool as it feels to drive a fast car, you do miss information when you're speeding. So when you slow down and walk through the countryside, you can see everything. You have the opportunity to stop and observe minor details. This is what we're doing here. And then slowly let's come back up. So we're going to go into a slightly different version of the lunge series. I'll show you from the front first. So the right leg is coming forwards. You don't have to turn around. You can be on your mat as you were. The right leg is coming forwards. We're going to take the hands to the inside of that right foot. I'm going to turn to the side again. Before I do the full demonstration, you can also do this on your stool. So for example, if it's a little bit troublesome for you to be this close to the ground, all of your lunge series, not just the one we're doing in this sequence, but in general in all the Yoga House Zoom classes, or indeed any other yoga classes you attend, be they virtual or live. You can do all lunges on a stool or a chair. And so it would sort of look like this. So you can see that the lunge shapes are still happening. I'm just a little bit more elevated, and this gives me more freedom to work on my hip flexibility. So by hip flexibility, I mean the muscles that support the pelvis. To work on that flexibility there and not be so compressed, right? So that is always a very good option to give you a chance to come into lunging poses. If you felt you couldn't do them before, for example, because they were on the ground, you can always do them on a stool. So you can even bring your stool now into your own practice as you watch this video. And so from there, we're going to take the right foot forwards, taking the hands to the inside of the right foot, so the big toe side of the right foot. Now here we're dropping the hips quite dramatically. And so this is what gives us the stretch. So from here, we're going to come into that kind of cat movement again. So as we inhale, we're opening the chest, bending the knee a little bit more. And as we exhale, slightly straightening the knee and rounding the back again. Inhale, lift. Exhale, round. Inhale, hips go down. Knee bends. Chest and chin lift. Exhale, hips come up. Knee slightly straightens. Chin and tailbone drop. So this union of opposites creating a balance. Not just the movement, where we're flexing and extending in equal measure, but the breath. So we're inhaling and exhaling in equal measure. Let's do 3 more. Inhale. Exhale. 2 more. Inhale. Exhale. Final time, inhale. And exhale. And again, you can step or get fancy. Jump switch. Whichever feels resonant with your body's ability today, right? So again, it's not going to be a carbon copy, your practice from day to day. So you've got to respect the reality of what's going on in each moment with your practice. Never force. Inhale, lift the chest, bend the knee, drop the hips. Exhale, lift the hips slightly, straighten the knee a little bit, tuck the chin in. Remember, listen to how your body's feeling. Only go deeper into the stretch if you feel that your body genuinely wants more. Focus on the breath as much as the movement. Sure, this is gentle looking stuff, but you can feel it as you work into it, that there's a lot of lovely subtle openings and stretches happening. And this stuff really does help us to move the prana, the life force, around the body. Aids with blood circulation, helps with bringing down inflammation, helps us to calm the body and the mind system. Let's do 3 more here after this one. And so we go, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, and exhale. And then we step back. So we're going to come into another lunge. I'm going to show you this one from the front. I think it's probably easier to see. I'm also going to move my blanket. And so with this particular lunge, we're working into lateral flexion or side bending. And when we go into lateral flexion, there is a real element of kind of awakening areas of the trunk that can get quite sleepy and quite stiff, I suppose. And that feeling of kind of inertia and collapse is going to mean that you're not getting the optimum results from your digestive system and your respiratory system. I know that sounds a little bit abstract, but if you just think of it in simple terms, if the external frame of the body is compressed, collapsed, or sort of in a bad posture, the internal workings don't have the space that they need. They will still work, the body's amazing, they will still work, but if you give space to the entire structure, not just your organs, but also your vertebrae, everything has space to function. There's no blockages or compression. So just keep that in mind in any posture. In lateral flexion or side bending, this becomes very prevalent. So it's a great place to get that education. And then, no matter what asana or yoga posture you're doing, you can apply this as a transferable skill. So we'll take the right foot forwards. From there, we're dropping down nice and low into those hips. The toes at the back are tucked under. Let me just quickly show you that from the side again. Tucked under meaning on the tippy toes. Dropping down meaning letting your hips drop down so they're not up like this. We're still in an upright position with the torso though. From here, we're going to go into little side bending. Now, reach towards the floor. It doesn't matter if you touch the floor. It's more about side bending. So as we take the right hand down, my arm is beside my hip. I come back up, we go to the other side, same leg, but the other side with the hand. My arm's beside my hip. I'll just show you that one more time. A demonstration from the side. See, beside the hip. So I'm not bringing the hand in front. I can't really bring the hand behind and touch the floor. I'm going right down by the hip. You can see, no matter what side I'm going to, I'm still keeping this alignment of uprightness through the torso, meaning I'm not leaning forwards. So I would rather you keep that alignment than necessarily touch the floor. You're just reaching to the floor, but you're keeping yourself in the side bend, and we go inhale to prepare, exhale, right hand. Inhale, center, exhale, left hand. Good. Inhale, center. Exhale, right hand. Inhale, center. Exhale, left hand. Let's get fancy. Inhale, center. Exhale to the right. Inhale, center. Exhale to the left. Now you'll notice, keep going, you'll notice as I'm reaching the arm up, it's straight. So I'm really getting as much extension or length here as possible. Drop the hips nice and low, and again, as always, we marry breath with movement. Inhale, center. Exhale to the side. Go as slowly as you need to, right? So as long as it's smooth, it can be fast or slow. As long as it's smooth, it remains gentle on the body. If you're jerking, that's not good, yeah, for obvious reasons. Especially if you're stiff, that's when you can injure. So keep it smooth, and then we'll come back up. So let's just step switch to this one. I'm jumping for that one because it's quite deep, that stretch, so you don't want to shock your body. Then we go to the other side, dropping the left hip nice and low. You can hear little creaks and cracks there. Dropping the left hip nice and low. Remember, don't lean forwards like this. Keep yourself sort of back off from that thigh without straightening it. Right? Without straightening the knee, I mean. Back off from the thigh without straightening the knee. And then we just start with the arms down. We go from side to side. Exhale. Exhale. Inhale, center. Exhale, slide. Inhale, center. Exhale, slide. In, X. Fancy. In, X. In, X. Smooth movement, like you're moving through water. And as I said, you can go as fast as I'm going, or you can go now as slow as I'm going. Breathe nice and loudly so you can feel and hear and see the rhythm. Keep it going. Inhale center, exhale to side. Remember, you don't have to touch the floor, so don't sacrifice your alignment to touch the floor. Touching the floor is not the goal, side bending is the goal. Let's do 3 more each side. Inhale up, exhale to the left. Inhale up, exhale to the right. 2 more each side. X, in, X. Heat is building, that's good. In, X means we can stretch more. In, and X, good. And then we come back up. So, we're going to come to all fours again, and I'm just going to show you. It's a slightly different sequence, but we're still thinking of that same paradigm of marrying breath with movement. I'm going to shift the blanket again. I have knobbly knees. So, you know, when you're doing a posture, there's nothing wrong with using props. You know, in certain yogic traditions, props aren't used, but the fact of the matter is a yoga mat is a prop. A blanket is absolutely fine. If your knees are knobbly and you're feeling such discomfort that you can't focus on your practice, then it's going to detract from your experience of yoga. So make sure that you're cushioned up if you need to. There's no shame in that. You're not less of a yogi if you're using a mat or a blanket, right? So use your blanket if you need to cushion underneath those knees. And so I'm just going to show you the next one. Again, the toes are tucked under at the back. We're going to take the right leg forwards, but this time I'm up a little higher. So you can see I'm not going into my low stretch with the hips again. I'm coming up in a sort of very cavalier manner, right? So I've got this strong structure of almost a little square that I'm creating here with thigh, lower leg, floor and thigh. This is easier. It's not so deep a stretch, but in the context of balance, it's a little bit harder because our center of gravity is higher. So you might find now that you set up, and as I'm talking, it's a little bit wobbly, and that's absolutely correct, right? So we're going to move into a little stretch, twist sequence. And so we're going to inhale the arms all the way up. Let me go to the front so you can see actually. We're going to inhale the arms all the way up, and then exhale, we're going to twist to the right, open the arms and twist. Inhale, all the way up, same leg, different side for the trunk. Exhale and twist. A little bit of a balance here, so stabilize, meaning with your muscles, engage them. Your belly, your bum, your legs, push into the floor. Find an anchor point or a root like a tree. And then as we move and breathe in the upper body, we're finding our extension from those roots, from those anchor points. Don't worry if you wobble, right? All balancing practices, no matter how experienced, there's going to be some kind of wobble. Inhale to center, exhale to twist. Now really reach. Inhale, reach, elbows straight, fingers and thumbs straight, stretching the skin in the palm of the hands. Inhale, reach, exhale. Good. Inhale, exhale. Inhale and exhale. Good, very good, guys. So you don't have to jump switch, you can just step switch. Try to do it without the hands on the floor for extra little challenge there. And then remember, we're not dropping down in this one like we've been doing. We're just keeping this sense of being quite upright here. So it's just a different element, different type of lunge. Inhale, reach. Exhale, split the hands, turn to your left. Left leg is forwards. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, twist to the right. Split the arms. Inhale, reach. Exhale, twist. Inhale, reach. Exhale, twist. And just firm the core muscles a little bit. Again, as I said earlier, you don't have to suck the belly in. It's not about external kind of aesthetics. It's internal support. So think about the muscles that are in the front, directly in front of your spine, rather than under the skin of your belly. So deep inside, lifting up through the pelvic floor muscles. Inhale, reach. Exhale, twist. Good, the arms getting a little bit tired here. So again, we're doing a gentle flow, but still quite demanding. And so to do yoga gently doesn't necessarily mean to be lazy. It means to move at a pace that suits you. To take breaks when you need to, of course, but to commit to learning in your body. You've all heard of muscle memory. Learning in your body a new way of moving that gives us optimum energy flow, longevity, and recovery from stiffness and or injury. Let's do one more. Inhale up. And exhale, twist. Inhale up. And to finish the movement, exhale, twist. Very good, guys. And then we come back into all fours. So I'm going to lean down onto my forearms for the next one. And this facilitates safety, actually, in the lower back. Often when we're doing stuff from all fours and we lift a leg, there's a collapse in the lumbar spine. And everything's kind of gathering here. You don't want to do that. I've mentioned that before in my other videos. So when we come down onto the forearms, we get a sense of a kind of level straightness. There's less of a tendency to just collapse. If you still feel that you're collapsing though, I would recommend just engaging those belly muscles a little bit more. Use your hand on your back. Try to make sure there's a nice straight kind of incline. So what I mean by straight is, obviously we're in a diagonal angle here, but I mean straight as in not dippy or curved. And then we're going to interlace the fingers. I'll show you the camera there. Interlace the fingers like we did earlier. So when we were doing our forward bend on the stool. Interlace the fingers. Have a wee look at your elbows. Make sure that they're closer together than your shoulder span. And then from here, we're going to just lift up our right leg. Again, I'm not mirroring you now that I'm to the side. So we're going to lift up the right leg. Inhale. And then exhale. Bring it out to the side. Touch. Inhale. And exhale. Bring it out to the side. Touch. Inhale. Strong belly. Exhale. Touch. Let's do two more. Inhale. Exhale. Touch. Last one. Inhale. Exhale. And touch. Good. Same leg. Take a break if you need to, but if you can, work in the stamina. We're going to lift that leg so it's now in line with the back. But remember, don't go dippy in the lower back. Keep it nice and strong. Inhale there. Exhale. Bend the knee. See if you can touch your arm. Good. Inhale. Extend. Exhale. Bend the knee. If you can't touch your arm, please don't worry. Just go to where you can go to. Inhale. Exhale. Touch. Two more. In. X. Last one. In. Leg straightens. X. Leg bends. Good. Let's take a little break. Just come up. I'm going to turn around because the wall's in my way. So we come onto the knees again. Interlacing the fingers. Make sure you've got that nice straight diagonal incline there. And then from there, we lift the leg. Let's do 5. Exhale. Rainbow down to the side. Inhale. Back to where it was. X. In. Try not to collapse to the right as you bring your leg to the left. Keep strong in the core. X. In. X. Let's do one more for luck. Keep your head in line with your spine so you're not craning your neck. Take a break if you need to, or lift the left leg straight up again. Inhale there. Exhale. Bend the knee. Bring it forwards. Hip crack. Inhale. That's a good thing. Exhale. 3 more. In. Extend your leg. X. Bend your leg. Touch that arm if you can. In. X. Last one. In. X. Good, well done. And then coming up and out of that. So from here, we're going to work into a little repetitious movement again, this time from all fours, having learned now how to stabilize through the lumbar spine. So what I mean by that, just for those of you who aren't kind of familiar with the anatomy of that, if I'm not engaging through my core, and at the same time, if I'm not conscious of kind of overarching here, everything is unsupported. So what I'm trying to do as best I can is lift up through the internal muscles of my abdomen and try to keep this natural lumbar curve to a minimum, right? So I'm not letting it collapse like this. Yeah, so you're keeping yourself quite firm. You're not rigidifying ever in yoga, but you're keeping yourself firm and strong and bouncy. So we're going to come into a little version of cat, which is quite nice, where we take the hand to the foot. It doesn't have to go all the way to the foot. We're certainly not grabbing the foot. Just see as a little test for yourself to see as your chest opens and as your hip flexor and your thigh gets more flexible, maybe you can reach the foot. And we're going to go one side at a time and then we'll switch over. And so here we are, all fours. Now again, it's a little bit harder, but because of our pre-prep, which was this, we've now learned how to be nice and straight here, and quite baggy in the jumper, but here you're keeping your lower belly nice and firm. So we're going to reach opposite hand to foot. It's a little bit easier. So from there, extending right arm, left leg, inhale. Exhale, reach, touch if you can, don't worry if you can't. Inhale. Exhale, reach, touch. Good. Inhale. Say, for example, if you're not touching, you just go to here. Go to where you can go to. Keep everything else in the body super stable, as in not wobbly. But if you are wobbling, that's okay. Just try to push into that left hand. Push into the right toes, right knee. Focus your mind. Let your breath be a solid, steady, faithful companion to your movement. Exhale, reach back. Inhale, reach forwards. X and in. As you swim the arm back and bend the leg, that's your exhale. As you straighten the leg and swim your arm forwards, that's your inhale. Let's do 3 more after the one we're on now. So we go in. X. In. X. In. X. Good. And let's switch. So again, I'm going to turn around because the wall is in the way. So setting up, nice and strong, nice and firm in the belly, not too dippy in the lower back. And then we extend. X. In. X. In. Continue on. Your right leg, which is the one that's moving, when it straightens, really straighten it. Your right arm, that's the one that's grounded. Really straighten that. Press into your fingers and spread them wide. So we're looking, obviously, at stretching. We want more flexibility. We want to gain that flexibility, but we have to make sure that we're grounded in something so that we're safe as we stretch. So much like a bungee jumper, for example, right? There is a base. That bungee cord is attached to something. If it wasn't, right? So it's not that dramatic in our yoga mat, but still think about it. There needs to be an anchor point from which to stretch. Let's do 3 more. Inhale, extend, exhale, reach back, in, X. Again, you can go slow as you like, provided it's smooth. Good. And then we come back to center. So this is where some of us might part company. We're going to work into a downward facing dog or Adho Mukha Svanasana. However, if you feel don't want to go upside down, or if there's a shoulder injury, you don't want to weight bear on those arms or upper body, then you can come into another version of child's pose. And so that would be, again, as our other versions we played with earlier, knees apart, feet together, hands are flat this time. We're not going to get the head to the ground, and we're working on just letting it drop ever so slightly and keeping those arms nice and straight. So it's active. If you want to go further, Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. Spread the fingers wide. We'll approach this with bent knees and work on straightening that back as much as you can. And we're going to hold here for 10 beautifully nourishing breaths. Heels are lifted, feet are hip distance apart and parallel. Keep pressing your hands down and forwards, like you're trying to press the mat away from you. The corresponding response to that action is a lift in the tailbone, and you're angling your tailbone, your coccyx, to the horizon where the ceiling meets the wall behind you, up and back. As you press hands down and forwards, butt goes up and back. Hands down and forwards, butt goes up and back, and continue improving there. Now we're holding this statically, so the concept of a marriage of breath and movement is different. We're still in the movement. We're not moving out of it like we did in some of our other sequences, but the breath still has a massive part to play in nourishment of the blood and therefore muscles and focus of the mind. Let's go 4 more breaths here. Inhale. Exhale. Final 3 breaths. Try to stay with it. Inhale. Exhale. Try and get more weight in the feet. Inhale. Exhale. Last breath here. Inhale. And exhale. And slowly lowering down. So we're going to just do 2 more postures in this little sequence, and then we'll come into a nice relaxation in the end. So we don't need the blanket anymore, unless you feel that that's a nice comfortable thing just to have under you, then work away by all means. And so from here, we're going to come into a familiar position with the hands interlacing. Now, as it's a gentle class, I'm going to just suggest that we keep the elbows bent here, because it's quite a tricky position already to be in for most of us. Feet are about hip distance apart, and the toes are pointed, so different to our back foot in the lunge, which is tucked under, we point the toes. Plantar flexion is a really nice practice to work into. If it gives you cramp though, of course, you can modify it, make it easier, keep knees on the floor, tuck toes under. So from here we're going to do 5 breaths and 5 lifts. Inhale, lift the hands, the chest and the head, keep your feet down. Exhale, come back down. Inhale, lift everything except for feet. Exhale, come back down. Let's do 3 more. Close the eyes, tuck your chin in to take pressure off your neck. Inhale, lift everything except for feet. Exhale, go down. Last 2, inhale. Exhale. Tummy strong. Last one, inhale. And exhale, good, well done. And then very slowly, in your own creative way, whatever way is good for your body, we're going to come to a supine position or a lying down position. And we're going to do 5 final reps in Sinkabanda or bridge pose. So with bridge pose, if you've got a ponytail, just take it out of the way. Your skull is on the ground and it remains there. The shoulder blades are on the ground and they remain there. From there, you're looking to, I'll just show you, you're looking to keep the natural curve of the lumbar, don't overarch it. So you're just trying to keep your pelvis in line with the rib cage, which is super easy when we're lying on the floor. Right? So we've got this infallible guideline when we're lying in a supine position. So you've got neutral spine there, just what would happen in your spine naturally in good alignment. Let's flatten the arms, palms to the ground. And if you understand what's happening, you can join me now and I'll just talk you through. If you need the visual, of course, feel free to have the visual. So inhale to do nothing. Exhale, we're going to push into the feet, the hands, the shoulders and the head and lift the pelvis up. Inhale at the top to stay there. And exhale, slowly lower down onto the floor again. Inhale once you're grounded. We'll do 4 more of these. Exhale to initiate the movement. So you'll notice straight away the movement happens on the exhale. Inhale, stay there, no movement, up at the top. And then exhale, lowering down. Let's do 3 more. Inhale at the bottom. Exhale to move up to the top. Inhale at the top. And exhale. Back to the floor. 2 more. Inhale here. Exhale, lift. Inhale here at the top. Exhale, lower. Inhale at the bottom. Exhale, lift. Strong in the feet. Inhale at the top. And exhale, lower down. Beautiful. It's a lovely movement. Let's go to relaxation. So you have the option to be in Shavasana. Shava means corpse, asana means yoga pose, so which is exactly what it says in the tin. Or, should you wish, particularly if you have a stiff back, or if you spend a lot of time standing, reversing the polarity of the legs is really nice. Get the butt right up to the wall, legs up, they can be relaxed. Option to take the arms back or down by your sides. Such a lovely thing to do. You can even do this on your bed, the legs up the wall. So take your blanket, maybe turn off the lights in your room, or use something over your eyes. Just optimal relaxation happening when the eyes are closed or when there isn't a light source. So get yourself organized, and I'm going to guide you through a short little yoga nidra relaxation. So once you are comfy on the ground, and you feel nice and warm and cozy, we can begin yoga nidra. And if you have your device close by, once I finish guiding you, just turn your device off and stay in that relaxation pose should you wish. It's really nice just to continue that sweet feeling. And so closing your eyes now. Take 3 deep breaths, inhaling, exhaling, inhaling, exhaling, inhaling, exhaling, and then let your breath become passive. And so the singing bowl calls us to pay attention to our practice. We have no problems paying attention to our practice when we're doing lunge or cat. But when we bring stillness to the body, that's when the mind starts to engage in chaos. And so the singing bowl just helps us to bring clarity and focus. I often find it quite interesting that you can categorize different aspects of the mind, and so we're so accustomed to being in the cognitive, analytical portion of the psyche that we forget that the mind has many other roles. We can use the mind as a tool for peaceful focus, particularly in our practice, or in times of anxiety, off the mat, where we are overthinking. We switch the function from overthinking to focus. And we know from life experience that we have the capacity for both, that's for sure. And so as you engage in a recognition of those capacities, you become automatically more self-aware and more able to take the reins of your own mind. And so this accomplishment requires steady and consistent practice. But it is 100% achievable. And so as you recognize that the mind is trying to open the door of its cognitive faculties, politely acknowledge it, but then just ask yourself to come to that option or that function of focus. Let yourself completely be present for yourself. We spend a lot of time being completely present for others. That is noble, and it comes from love. We do not diminish our roles and parts to play in the lives of others. However, it is important to celebrate our role in being present for ourselves, in our quest for growth, wisdom, and happiness. Rest your body now. Give your weight to the floor. Let your eyelids be gently closed, not squashed shut. Just feel the gentle caress of your upper eyelids on your lower eyelids, and allow the eyeballs to sink into their sockets. Skull is heavy, so the neck is relieved and released. Shoulder blades and arms, like a weighty set of massive wings resting. Belly is now soft. Disengage the muscles. As you breathe, the lungs can fill in a different way, almost as if it feels we are breathing into the belly and the kidneys and the floor. Let yourself go, let yourself relax. During Yoga Nidra or yogic relaxation, it is traditional to practice a Sankalpa, which is loosely translated as a pledge or promise to oneself If you are accustomed to Sankalpa practice, then practice. But if you need instruction, let me briefly explain. Your Sankalpa should be succinct, concise, beautiful, and kind. It is a short and sweet statement that allows you to move forwards in your life, something that is relevant and private only to you. Again, try not to be too much in the cognitive mind. Once you think of your Sankalpa, don't dwell in that function. Let the sentiment of the Sankalpa move into your focus mind. Say it to yourself 3 times. Full self-awareness. If you're having trouble creating a Sankalpa, I suggest something like, I am practicing to align with my wiser self. Once you have uttered your Sankalpa 3 times, let its deeper meaning infuse through you, become part of you. Do not tell anybody your Sankalpa. Keep it for yourself. You have the option, of course, to remain in relaxation. Or should you so wish, begin now to steadily, softly, gently deepen your breath. When it feels right, and only when it feels right, begin to move the body, small increments at first, toes, fingers, etc. And then into deeper stretches. And when you're ready, be respectful and genteel with your body as you come up to a seated cross-legged position, or if you prefer to use the stool, sit on the stool. Rest your hands on your knees. Sit tall and close your eyes. And take 3 deep breaths here. Re-energizing the body. 2 more breaths. While gently still carrying on to our feeling of relaxation. And let's conclude by chanting 3 Oms again. Then 3 Shantis, a Hari Om and another Om. Shanti means peace. When we chant it 3 times, it symbolizes the first one for ourselves, the second one for our loved ones, and the third one for the entire universe. Beautiful sentiment. Taking the hands together into Anjali Mudra, prayer position. Take a deep breath in. exhale. So we breathe in again. Excuse me, and then another deep breath in. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Hari Om. You are finishing mudra, representing taking all we've learned from our practice and planting it in our hearts. Palms together down through the center. Open forward. Coming back up. Namaste. The spirit in me respects the spirit in you. Thank you, everybody. I hope that helps with your practice. Have a great day.